Today you're going to learn how we got leads from NASA, Microsoft, and Tesla for one of our clients. Now, before I get into it, let me first show you some proof. So we were forwarding meeting-ready leads over to our client. So here's the first one from NASA, the Goddard Space Flight Center. Here's our client's feedback saying that, they're having the opportunity to have their products go on a spacecraft to Saturn. Incredible. Next, we have Tesla. Here we shared some information and then forwarded over to our client because the client had a very technical sales process and they were better suited to handle it than ourselves. Lastly, Microsoft. Here we just sent them over some more information and then forwarded the lead over. We also got in touch with NVIDIA and Lenovo. So if we can get leads from companies like this, we can absolutely get you meetings with your ideal customers. If you're interested, go here, probeldigital.com. If you're watching the video, the link's going to be in the description. So let's begin. How did we do it? First, we need to choose the right channel when reaching out to these people, right? They're not going to respond on Instagram ads, for example. So you need to choose the right channel. The three main outbound channels that you can pick from are cold email, LinkedIn, and cold calling. Let's go through all of them. First, cold calling. Cold calling isn't very scalable, right? You need an entire team of dialers to hit enough volume, which is extremely expensive and ultimately, for us, wasn't worth the investment. So that's scrapped. Second, LinkedIn. LinkedIn is more scalable than cold calling, but it's still unscalable because you're limited to 30 connection requests and messages per day. And LinkedIn has started getting very strict with new accounts, and they just ban them like that. So that was also not an option for us. So for us, cold email was the clear winner. It is almost infinitely scalable, and with the right system and setup, you can get open rates of above 80%. Now, let's get into how we actually did this. Step one is the setup step. In my opinion, this is the most important step. Why? Because if your emails are going to spam and they aren't landing in the primary inbox, nothing else matters. It doesn't matter how many emails you're sending, how good the emails are, how good the copy is, how good the offer is. If people don't see it, it doesn't matter. So you need to do this step right. Now, here's where most people are going wrong. Most people send hundreds of emails per day from a single email account using tools like Apollo Sequences or Lemlist, and they wonder why their emails are getting 0 responses. The answer is that your email sending pattern is not human-like. You look like a robot. So Google and Microsoft just identify you as spam and throw you in with all of the other competitors that suck. Our goal in the setup process is to make your sending look as human-like as possible. Now, here's what we did. For this client, we bought 5 domains, 2 email accounts per domain, totaling 10 emails. We set up SPF, DMARC, and DKIM, which are email deliverability records that we put on the DNS. Then we hooked everything up to our email sending tool. We only set 25 regular emails per day, an additional 25 warm-up emails per day. I'll make a video later on in the future if you don't know what email warm-up is, but it is extremely crucial that you have this set up when you're doing cold email. Now, step 2 of our process. We needed to decide who we were going to target, right? This is essentially our strategy. Now, when going after large organizations, you need to be extremely clear about who you are going to target. Specifically with enterprise prospects, you cannot simply go after C-suite the same way that you do when you go with companies that have 10 to 50 employees. They will have zero interest in what you are offering. Elon Musk will not hear out what you are saying. This specific client was selling fans. So we brainstormed who would be the right person in these organizations to target. The answer was simple: thermal engineers. Their entire job consists of fans and thermal solutions. So of course they would be receptive to an outreach message involving fans. Now, we were agnostic to whether they were junior or senior engineers, because really our goal with this campaign was to have it in, right? Our in was thermal engineering, and then those guys would pitch it to other people within the organization and eventually get the prospect to buy at a larger scale. The takeaway from this is, when doing your own outreach, don't just blindly target C-suite. Brainstorm specifically with larger organizations. Who sees the most value in the solution you're offering? Who does it make the most sense to target? Step 3, now that we knew who we were going to target, now we just had to build out the lead list. For this client, we used Apollo to build out this lead list. We basically targeted every thermal engineer and manager in North America. Once the list was built, we exported and verified all the leads through an SMTP verifier, and then we took the catch-alls and verified them using a catch-all verifier. Lastly, we used AI to clean and normalize all of the data. Step 4, copywriting. So this is essentially what we say in order to get these prospects interested in what we're selling. For our initial sequence, we used a 6-step sequence. We usually use only 4, but here the total addressable market was smaller, so we wanted more touch points over a longer period of time. Every email we sent was under 75 words. Super straight to the point, just giving our offer and seeing if they were interested. Additionally, specifically with this, we always had extremely soft call to actions. We actually never pitched for a meeting once. What we did instead was offer our product catalog. Now, this was a really good idea, because essentially our strategy here was having the organization pass around this asset from person to person to person, right? If we got an interested response from a junior thermal engineer, they could take the product catalog and show it to their manager, who then shows it to purchasing, and then purchasing sees if it makes sense, and they can just pass it around and around the organization. Additionally, we heavily leveraged spin tags in both the subject line and the body copy to make sure our deliverability was really on point. Lastly, our strategy essentially evolved using a different angle in every single email, instead of boring follow-ups like, hey, I just wanted to touch base or this or that. Instead, we just took a different angle in every single email. Next, subsequences. We also wrote out subsequences for this campaign. For this client, we set up 3 subsequences: out of office, meeting request, and information request. The out of office subsequence just helped us follow up with the prospect when they came back to the office, just to make sure that we didn't forget to reach out to them. Meeting request essentially followed up with prospects who were interested in a meeting until they actually booked in that meeting. And then we used information request to follow up on the product catalog that we previously sent out. Lastly, setting the appointments. We placed a dedicated inbox manager on this offer who responded to every reply within 15 minutes. The reasoning is, the faster you reply, the more meetings you book. After that, we leveraged our proprietary automation, which uses AI to categorize the reply, then push them out to the necessary subsequence, or ping the inbox manager to respond. Now, let's take a step back. Why did this work? How were we able to leverage this to get meetings with NASA, Tesla, Lenovo, Microsoft, and all of these huge enterprise clients? To understand why we were able to get results like this, you need to understand how thermal engineers think. And at a greater level, you need to have the same level of understanding of your ICP. Thermal engineers are always looking for new and better solutions. Even if they have other vendors in place, they're always open to taking new samples or trying out new products. They're always on the hunt for something new and better. They don't have like loyalty to a single brand. With that in mind, we were able to essentially come to them with a really good value proposition and a super simple, easy to say yes to call to action. What this results in is essentially an in, right? Now that we know that they're interested, we can follow up, we can send more information, we can send samples, and ultimately convert them on the back end. Now, when it relates to you, this ultimately comes down to understanding your market. Really, we did not do anything flashy except understanding the way that thermal engineers think and giving them something they wanted. Do the same thing with your customers. Understand how they think and give them an offer that they can't say no to. Now, here's our takeaways. For many niches and offers, you don't need a super flashy offer to get results. It doesn't have to be the coolest, latest, and greatest thing. We literally set meetings with NASA and Tesla by selling fans, right? So if you can find exactly who within the company wants what you are selling, you can get massive leads from enterprise clients. On a further level, this client basically had market messaging resonance because they knew exactly who they needed to target within the organization, how to say it, and exactly what they wanted. I have a video about market messaging resonance here if you're looking to achieve something similar. Now, if you want me to do this whole process for your business so that you can generate meetings on demand with your dream customers, click this link here. I appreciate you watching this video, and until next time, cheers.